Hi everyone, welcome to the Directors Dialogue. And today we are very lucky and very fortunate to have with us Khyentse Norbu Rinpoche, who is a very well-known director, and he has done a few works on that probably a lot of you are very familiar with. And today what we'll be talking about will be his latest film, Looking for a Lady with Fangs and Moustache. And with me today, Khyentse Norbu Rinpoche, I'd like to invite you to say a few words to our audience first.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me for this. I don't know. You are too kind. My film and my work in general, and especially this film, I don't know whether it deserved this much attention. But anyway, I have so much feeling towards Singapore, and I have a lot of friends in Singapore. So it's really nice to have, during this, especially this time when we are all sort of locked down and not able to travel here and there, it's really nice to have something to do with me going on in Singapore.
Thank you. So maybe we can go straight into our dialogue. So Looking for a Lady is your fifth feature. You have started off with The Cup back in 1999. And then there's Travelers and Musicians, Magicians back in 2003. Vara in 2013 and Hima Hima, Sing Me a Song While I Wait in 2016. So this is your fifth feature. So can you share with us how you get inspired when you want to begin on the film? Do you actively think of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that? Or maybe, one day we're doing something and you wait for inspiration to actually hit you?
Well, it all began when I was supposedly studying in London. I had the opportunity to watch a lot of film, and there I bump into a lot of works of some great masters. I mean, film masters. I'm talking here, like Ozu, like Satyajit Ray, and Victorio De Sica. So I was very inspired specifically with this medium. So not to say that, I would always be using this medium to express Buddhist values and teachings and so on and so forth, but this medium is very powerful. So I guess I was very inspired and encouraged. Subsequently, I have this develop a really strong desire to make a film based on the life of the Buddha, which is still a dream. Of course, this is a really big dream. I don't know, probably this will never happen, but nevertheless, it's an aspiration. In the process, there's always these small films. And also I feel, coming from a place like Himalayan Kingdom, Bhutan, we have a, every, culture, every society has a different way of expressing stories and telling stories. And I feel that that is something to be preserved. I mean, preserve maybe is not the right word, but time to time remind ourselves that there is such thing. So of course, the challenge is that such a way of expressing is not necessarily commercially viable. So it can be quite challenging.
Yes. I think one of the challenges that faces our films, because we tend to screen documentaries and like you say, films that are not really that commercial, is that a lot of the directors, actually the films are the labor of love, and they have something to say, and which why a lot of times I think audience feel very much inspired, because these films are not it's not just entertaining. there's also a strong element of education and also information. Okay, so for maybe we talk about this particular firm in this firm looking for a lady with fangs and moustache. When you start off, do you have everything planned? That means you know there are directors who actually have storyboards. They actually decide this is how it is, or are you the kind of director that actually when you make the film, you let it flow and see where the film takes you or where the story takes you along the way?
Well, ideas like storyboard is for
Yes.
those who really have a high budget.
Okay.
Because I think so. Because with my kind of filmmaking and with the limit of the budget I have to be so flexible. So flexible. So sticking with a certain schedule, certain storyboard, that's a big luxury that I don't have. With this specific film, I was very lucky to begin with. I mean, there's Nepal, which is quite a magical place, and the story is kind of very, I don't know, magical, and hopefully, I guess if I have a sort of sensibility to point my camera to the right direction, I could, I should be able to catch the, the beauty and the magical aspect of the Nepal. Of course, I'm very lucky that I was collaborated with Mark Leaping Bing, who is one of the greatest eyes in the world, I should say.
I think at this point, I just want to let the audience know that I feel the film. And the thing that struck me was really the beauty, which I just shared with you. I am not sure whether Nepal is really like that or it's just captured the best part, but it's really, really beautiful to me. The scenes, even the street scenes, the authenticity of them sitting down, drinking coffee, it just struck me how different, the Himalayan culture from, especially from Singapore, which is a very, very different type of culture. Yeah.
You see, this is something so great about my cinema photographer, Mark Lee. He was so into not using any artificial light. So we were, and Nepal, and especially the specific location where I shot this film, this is one of the most ancient, well, they call it city. So when I say city, Singaporeans should not think as in terms of Singapore city. So we are talking about something quite small. Nevertheless, it's quite an ancient town. And some of the ruins are probably really, really old. And some of the streets, the bricks, and so there's that. So as I said earlier, as long as we have the sensibility to, point at the right direction and have the actor, just throw in the actors. That's basically what we did.
So do you face, I don't know, because you're choosing the film in such an authentic setting, were there any challenges that you actually faced during the film that maybe was there any point that we felt, hey, maybe I should stop filming for a while, the conditions is not right. Yeah.
Well, of course, there's always a challenge, right?
Yes.
But especially, countries like Nepal or Bhutan in the Himalayas, there's no professional film culture. So, for instance, like my actors were really, they are not actors. They were just randomly chosen. Some of them are just my friends. Now, this is a challenging because even as you write, even when from the day one, when you write the film, you are already writing it as if somebody who cannot really pull through all kinds of difficult acting. So this is always a limitation. But I must say, my actors, even though they're very, very, this is their first time, they did quite okay. Some of them did very good.
Based on the experience, your next film, will you be using non-actors again, or you'll be moving to another direction?
This is difficult because, you know, if my story is based on any places like Bhutan or Nepal, especially like Bhutan, I'll have to always settle with actors that don't really have a huge, you know, artistic support.
Yes.
So this is something. This is a challenge that we should be facing, and you know, sometimes the challenges is good because then you have to be creative.
Are you at liberty to just share with us how long do you take to make this film from starting conceptualizing and then actually having the final product?
The story writing took maybe about a year and a half. That's the part that I enjoy the most.
Okay.
The actual shooting, I have to be really fast, you know, budget pressure, you see.
Yes.
So every day counts. So we did it quite fast, and especially with the help of, you know, Mark, the cameraman. He was so efficient. And so I think the shooting was done under like 6 weeks. And then, of course, there's a long, arduous sort of journey of editing and the sound,
Yes.
the color correction.
Yes.
So all in all, I would say about 2 years.
2 years. I noticed something. We do not want to spoil the film for people who's going to watch it. But I do, when I was watching,
there's nothing to spoil. You know, there's really, you can talk about the ending even if you, there's no like spoiler in this case. It's not like suspense or anything.
I don't feel when I watch a film, there's a hint of humor. There's a sense of mischief. I'm not sure whether I got it right. It's as if you are trying to tell the audience something. It's like a bit like that. Am I correct when I say that?
Well, you know, we human beings, we always do that, right? And film, books, what, you know, painting, this is an extension of your expression. And I'm sure, being someone who's always a little bit cynical myself, I'm sure this is there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we don't go too much because I know you said there's no spoiler, but we don't go too much into it. Now, Looking for a Lady with Fangs and a Moustache is a very quirky title. It's a very unusual title. Is this title, it comes at the end or at the beginning or during the whole filmmaking process?
No, actually, this was a conscious, very much consciously chosen. In a place like Himalayas, where there's a strong Buddhist and Hindu tantric culture,
yes,
there are a lot of, you know, mythology. There's a lot of phenomena such as, you know, special ladies who gives you, you know, inspiration, blessings, etc., etc. I mean, like in Nepal, even now, today, the one of the most holiest human being that everybody in Nepal venerate is a like 6-7 years old girl.
Yes.
You know, like a Kumari, all of that.
Yes.
So all that legend, if you like, I hate to use the words like magic and myth and legend, but this is how the, you know, general world seems to relate. So there's a lot of that, and I thought it would be a shame to not use that. So this is why even the titles, I've consciously chosen that title. Of course, you know, the distributors, if there's any, they don't like this kind of title. You know, they want catchy, sellable.
Yes. Oh, well, it is a very catchy title. Sellable, well, it's up to individual, but it's a very catchy title. I think we read that when you make this film, you want it to be contemplative, and you were actually quite deliberate in giving time, because nowadays we are in the era of Hollywood movies, you know, integrated universe, etc., where things need to move fast, otherwise you lose the attention of the audience. So you wanted it to be contemplative with long durations of periods, don't, like when they drink coffee, they don't hurry up, people take their time to drink the coffee. But were you concerned that if you do this, you might lose the attention of the audience? And how do you address that? I mean, were there techniques that you holding a watch or a clock or something when you're doing that?
Well, you know, I already know that this film is not a commercially viable film. So I have that leverage or that sort of advantage that I could take. Of course, nevertheless, still you don't want to also, like torture the viewers too much, right? Actually, it's funny that you said this. Originally, the original cut that I had 4 hours.
4 hours?
Yes, and it was like so long that if we wish to go to festivals like yours, it's like, it's impossible because, where do you put that, the time slot and so on and so forth. So we had to trim a lot. I mean, it's not like there's no film as long as 4 hours. I think there's a one film, I think coming from Philippines. It's something like 6 hours.
6 hours.
And, one needs that kind of daringness.
So were there any interesting things about the filmmaking that you want to actually share with our audience?
Well, I think okay, maybe this may be interesting for people. As I mentioned earlier, one of the most holiest sort of figure in Nepal is this girl, like 6 years, 7 years, I don't know. And people go and go to her to receive blessing, especially if you are doing something what you think is important. And of course, me, when I was shooting this, just before thinking that this is an important project, I actually went to see her to get her blessing. And outside, there are all the offerings that we could buy for her. And among the offerings, we could also buy a doll, like for the small girls, they like dolls. So they sell dolls. So I bought a doll, I bought flowers, sweets, and all of that. But the funny thing is that the Nepalese, they say that if she smiles at you, that is not good.
Oh.
Because that means that you will not live long.
Okay.
So she should be stern. So then this is kind of a paradoxical for me.
Yes.
Because here you are with a doll, and usually it will make a kid happy, right?
Yes.
So already, with this in my mind, I went nervously to her and really sort of, the information is planted in my head. So I thought, okay, I hope she's not going to smile. And luckily, it was really early in the morning. I think she was kind of sleepy, so she didn't smile.
Okay.
And she blessed us all.
There's a very interesting anecdote to tie to this film. So, are you currently thinking of your next project?
Yes, I have few stories. I mean, the stories are already there even when I was shooting this film. So depending on, the COVID situation,
yes,
yes, there is few.
I think yes, the COVID has disrupted all of us the last 2 years. We certainly hope that it will end soon. I believe that, of course, filmmaking, I'm not sure how to describe in this case, filmmaking is your hobby. I don't think it's your profession. So you have other projects that you are very, very busy with. And I think some of the projects are actually available in Singapore. Do you want to share with our audience some of the things that you have doing in Singapore at the moment?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'm not a professional filmmaker and I will never be one. I have too much other things to do, which I inherited, so to speak. Among actually a lot of things that I do, such as running monasteries in Himalayas, one in Bhutan, other in India, and also in China. Actually, one of the biggest project I have, two biggest project I have is actually currently in Singapore. One of them is translating the words of the Buddha, which is quite a big project. And the main sort of administration office is in Singapore with all my Singaporean help. And then about a few years ago, I was also very much inspired to set up a school for children. And I have been really developing this idea to educate is maybe not the right word, but really prepare our next generation with a, I don't know, right view, right thinking, right motivation, right, I don't know, way to go ahead with the life, so to speak. So I have been really trying to establish this. There's already one in New York, which is doing quite good. And the Singapore one is fairly new, but we are putting all our effort here. And so these are the two really big projects that's actually happening in Singapore.
So there's, I believe you are referring to 84,000, which is the translation of the word of Buddha, and that one is freely available to everyone online.
Yes.
And, the other one is Blue Lion Preschool, which I had heard about as well. And well, my kids are grown up, so they won't have this also. But for those who are listening in, you might want to actually Google Blue Lion to find out more. There is a Buddhist preschool, I guess. I won't say Buddhist preschool. It's a preschool with trying to inculcate the right values, and in that sense, yeah. Okay, so thank you for your time today. I'm not sure. Do you have anything that you want to share with our audience before we finish up our interview?
Nothing much. Just I wish all the best and good luck, and ask all our friends in Singapore to stay safe. And I always notice Singaporeans are always laughing and giggling all the time. I hope they remain like that.
I think the current COVID pandemic, as a Singaporean, we are very lucky to be well taken care of, and our thoughts are with people of the rest of the world, and we wish everyone safety and health as well. And we also wish you the best of conditions. And we look forward to two things. First, to see you back in Singapore soon, so you can share your teachings with us. And second is, of course, your next book, so that we can enjoy it on the cinema. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. And have a good day ahead.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.